Are you looking for the best AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT models? In this video we will look at some of the best AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT models. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 5. AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT. Even though there are a lot of manufacturers for GPUs, there are a lot of people that prefer to go with the GPUs produced by the same brand as their chipsets. So, we are putting an AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT designed by AMD on our list. The AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT is probably the most reliable option that you can find on this list today since it is designed by AMD itself. So, you can completely trust the fine-tuning and performance of this card. While being a slightly expensive unit, the AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT offers a base clock speed of 1890 MHz with support or up to 2310 MHz boost clock speed. In terms of design, you will notice the standard bold and bulky design that AMD usually chooses for their GPUs. And for cooling, the AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT also houses 3 built-in fans that are more than enough for the given clock speeds. As for the power requirements, AMD is recommending at least a 850 watts PSU for the AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT since the card itself requires 300 watts power connection. Coming to the connectivity options, the AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT features the standard set of ports including one HDMI 2.1 port, 2 DisplayPort 1.4 ports, and an additional USB Type-C port for display output. AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT chipset with 16GB VRAM. It offers a base clock speed of 1890 MHz. It supports up to 2310 MHz boost clock speed. Onboard triple fan cooling system. 2 DisplayPort 1.4 ports, 1 HDMI 2.1 port, and 1 USB Type-C port is provided. Number 4. Sapphire Technology AMD Radeon RX. If you are worried about the performance, or rather the speed of your AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT GPU, you should take a look at the specifications of this GPU from Sapphire. This GPU offers the fastest performance that you can find at this price point. The Sapphire 11308-13-20G Toxic is one of the many AMD-based graphics cards designed by Sapphire. And since Sapphire has been designing AMD GPUs for decades now, you should totally rely on its performance and longevity. This graphics card is rated for a base clock speed of 2365 MHz with a maximum boost clock support for up to 2600 MHz with OC. And without OC, you will still get a base clock speed of 2135 MHz, which is not half bad as far as gaming is in question. Overclocking is made really easy with the Sapphire 11308-13-20G Toxic GPU thanks to the Sapphire Toxic GPU software. With just a single click, you can OC your GPU and get a heightened performance with this card. Just like our last pick, the Sapphire 11308-13-20G Toxic also has an onboard liquid cooling solution with a 360mm radiator including 3 fans for faster cooling effect. You will also notice a full-sized fan on the card itself that helps with the heat dissipation at source. AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT chipset with 16GB VRAM. It offers a base clock speed of 2135 MHz. It supports up to 2600 MHz boost clock speed. Onboard liquid cooling system. 3 DisplayPort 1.4 ports and 1 HDMI port is provided. Number 3. Asus AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT. Now that you are familiar with the affordable options for an AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT, let us take a look at our premium selection of options from reputed brands. Asus is the first one in the lineup with the most efficient cooling system of all. The Asus ROG Strix LC AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT Top Edition is probably the best option that you can find on the market right now for a high-end graphics card. As you can see in the name, this is an overclockable unit offering 2375 MHz base clock speed with up to 2525 boost clock speed out of the box. And as you may already know, OC requires highly efficient cooling. Thus, the Asus ROG Strix LC AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT Top Edition comes with its own liquid cooling solution. The Asus ROG Strix LC AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT Top Edition has an onboard liquid cooling system that includes a 240mm radiator supported by the majority of PC cabinets. And since there are no additional fans on the card itself, the size and form factor of the Asus ROG Strix LC AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT Top Edition is significantly reduced. The tubing for this radiator is about 600mm long and it is compatible with eATX motherboards. AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT chipset with 16GB VRAM. It offers a base clock speed of 2375 MHz. It supports up to 2525 MHz boost clock speed. Onboard liquid cooling system. 3 DisplayPort 1.48 ports, 1 USB Type-C port, and 1 HDMI 2.1 port is provided. Number 2. PowerColor AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT. PowerColor is also bringing an affordable choice for an AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT chipset graphics card on our list today. Even if this brand is not as popular as other options, it is still a reliable choice for future. The PowerColor Red Devil AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT is yet another affordable option that we have for you today. But PowerColor manages to deliver great performance and speed even with the budget-focused price range. The PowerColor Red Devil AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT is tuned for 2235 MHz base clock speed with up to 2425 MHz boost clock speed support. So, you will observe a noticeable upgrade in the FPS as well as rendering speed with this graphics card. On the other hand, if you would rather prefer a completely silent operation, the PowerColor Red Devil AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT also offers 2135 MHz operating speed with a boost clock speed of 2335 MHz with the silent profile. So, the performance of this card is still better with the silent option. You will notice a rather thicker heatsink on the PowerColor Red Devil AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT that manages to quickly dissipate the heat and keep the card cool under heavy load. AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT chipset with 16GB VRAM. It offers a base clock speed of 2235 MHz. It supports up to 2425 MHz boost clock speed. Onboard triple fan cooling system with an effective heatsink. 3 DisplayPort 1.4 ports and 1 HDMI 2.1 port is provided. Number 1. XFX AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT. When it comes to high-end chipsets like the AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT, almost all of the options from renowned brands are quite expensive. However, there are some brands like XFX that are offering the same chipset at an affordable price. Today, we will start off our list of the best AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT graphics cards with the most affordable option from XFX. The XFX Speedster Merc 319 is one of the high-end options from the GPU series by XFX that features the AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT chipset along with the standard 16GB GDDR6 VRAM. You will also get AMD's RDNA 2 architecture that ensures great performance when it comes to gaming. But, the main thing to notice about the XFX Speedster Merc 319 is that it is offering a rather slower base clock speed to reduce the power consumption. This GPU has 1950 MHz base clock speed with a maximum boost clock support for up to 2365 MHz. So, you can use the card under low load with lower power consumption and get the necessary performance boost if needed. For cooling, the XFX Speedster Merc 319 is offering a triple fan built-in on the card for efficient performance. AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT chipset with 16GB VRAM. It offers a base clock speed of 1950 MHz. It supports up to 2365 MHz boost clock speed. Onboard triple fan cooling system. 3 DisplayPort 1.4 ports and 1 HDMI 2.1 port is provided.